So today I wanted to talk about why alignment is so powerful for your life, and most of all, why alignment affects your life. And when we start to look at how spiritual alignment holds so much power with how we're showing up within the realignment process, we can start to see how there's actually different forms of alignment. And I think this is like one of those things that is interesting because we don't always see alignment as so black and white. And one thing I do want to say is if you don't know what I'm talking about in terms of what is alignment, I highly recommend that you check out my video on what is spiritual alignment first and then come back to this video. So one thing that I want to talk about is how alignment affects your life differently. And most of all, when you start to look at alignment from this unique lens, you can see that alignment is affecting different areas of your life and it's showing up in different ways. So if you're in a space where you are misaligned, it might be affecting how you're showing up in that particular area of your life. So let's dive in to what exactly I mean. All right, so when it comes to understanding spiritual alignment, one of the things that I want to really emphasize is understanding the concept of knowing that spiritual alignment is activating the path of least resistance. Now, here's the thing though. A lot of people think that the work is in like the limited belief work and the releasing work, and that stuff is great. But what you'll find is that the real shift, the real process begins to unfold with the realignment process. Now, there are 4 key areas where we can start to radically experience realignment. And this realignment process will help you essentially realign. It's like when you're in a place where you might feel misaligned, you might have more hardships, or things might feel more of a struggle, or it might feel like things are in a place where it's like you're trying really hard but you feel a lot of doubt, you have lower self-worth, and as a result you're making misaligned decisions, and you feel as your perception is like in that misaligned space of mind, you actually, you might be thinking like you have blocks. You might be thinking that, you need to do a bunch of releasing work. You might be like fixated on shadow work. And there's also the point where you could just be unaware that this is even happening. So misalignment shows up in so many ways. But when it comes to realignment, there are 4 key areas that we need to think about when it comes to understanding how realignment works with the body. And your life. So when it comes to realignment, the first one that is really powerful to understand is realignment in the nervous system. So realignment in the nervous system is where we realign our energy through the chakra system, through the mind-body connection. So realignment in terms of the chakra system is all about realigning the nervous system to come back into its authentic self, its true aligned form where energy is free flowing as one. So this is what I touch a lot about in my chakra course, the Ultimate Chakra Academy. It's all about realignment in the nervous system. And this is also looks like regulating the nervous system. When we're in a space of realignment, we are naturally starting to regulate our nervous system away from the concepts of fight, flight, and freeze, or what is known as the trauma response. So this concept of realignment in the nervous system helps you essentially kind of allow yourself to encompass that free-flowing energy that promotes well-being and health. And it helps a lot with this sense of kind of regulating your nervous system so you feel safe and supported in your body. And you also have the realignment piece of healing. So you're realigning through that healing piece where your emotions are coming back into alignment. So alignment can take different forms. And so you can start to see that the realignment in the nervous system touches on your emotions and your thoughts and your energy. And so there's an energetic realignment occurring. Now, at the same time, the second form of realignment is what a lot of people are pretty familiar with. It's called being an energetic match. So, vibrational match. When you are a vibrational match, this can also be influenced by manifestation. So, the law of attraction world. This is also another form of realignment. When we think about realignment in terms of having that intention and then coming into alignment with that intention, and to be an energetic match for that intention, you start to see that you become more magnetic. The more that you become an energetic match, that is creating your own form of natural alignment with the mind-body connection. So we have like realignment through the healing process, through regulation and energetic healing. And then we also have realignment within the manifestation process, which is all about realigning to create yourself as the energetic match for your desires or your goals or your dreams. And so this form of realignment focuses heavily on your intentions, your awareness, and most importantly, your focus and your language. And so this form of realignment is really influenced a lot by your mindset and your actions. And as a whole, it's reinforced by your emotions. So you can start to see how they kind of piggyback off of each other. So this form of realignment will focus on how you become an energetic match. Now, being an energetic match is literally the same thing as being aligned. And so when you think about the concept of alignment as a whole, it's free-flowing energy. So it's the pathway of least resistance. So when you're an energetic match towards your manifestation or your desired outcome, you are entering the pathway of least resistance for your desire. The next form of realignment, as we call it, is essentially aligned action. And this one is one that can really throw people off, because there's the concept of just taking action, and then there's the concept of aligned action. Aligned action is wildly different than someone who writes down a to-do list and says, obviously, to manifest, I need to do this, 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 and this, and this to get my result. And that's how most of society teaches us. Cause and effect. Do the thing, take action, get the thing. But that's actually not how aligned action works. One thing I say in a lot of my programs is what you'll find is that instead of calling it aligned action, it's called magnetic action. And in the bundle that I'm going to be releasing in the membership, it's called Magnetic Aligned Action. And we talk a lot about the different layers of how to understand aligned action. So realignment with aligned action is focused on activating your sense of your magnetism with your point of attraction. So your point of attraction is influenced by the actions you're taking. And now, to make this more simple for you, when you think of aligned action, one of the easiest things to think about is it's not forceful, pushy, writing down a to-do list, checking off boxes kind of action. What it's actually is it's being soul-led and guided from within to take the actions you need to take. And so because of this unique framework of looking at how you're taking action, if you're taking action from fear or hustle or striving or pushing or forcing, this energy is not aligned action. Aligned action is a flowy, kind of intuitive pulse. It's like a pool, like a pulling of action. It's where you suddenly feel inspired. It's where you decide, well, I could spend the day doing this, and I had a plan to work on this piece of content for 3 hours. But you know what? I'm going to stop doing that. And instead, I'm going to go water the flowers. For whatever reason, I need this time to go water the flowers. And now I'm like, oh my God, I have the best idea for content. I need to write this down. That's aligned action. Because instead of forcing yourself to be in that creative flow, you decided to listen to your intuition and be guided from within. And that's what aligned action's all about. It's learning how to be guided from within. And that intuitive flow comes naturally in the space of aligned action. Now, the fourth way that we can also embrace realignment is our realignment with our habits and our values. A lot of people are not fully conscious of their values, and their values influence their habits, and their habits influence how they show up to life itself. So one of the things I talk a lot about in the Soul Aligned Life Academy is we have the systems of success. And this one of the potent, most powerful systems of success is our habits. Our habits are such a huge part of our lives. And when we get into a space of realignment with our habits, when we are realigned with our values, we naturally are starting to realign our habits. And this is the space where we start to not just take aligned action, but we start to sustain that aligned action into a habit which influences our identity. And that's the key point to make here. When you influence your habits from a place of alignment, you're now influencing your identity. And that's where the shift really starts to occur, because you're no longer just in a place where you're like forcing the action forward or you're trying to push it forward. And instead, habits become something that's automatic. So when you're working on an aligned action and you're working on that aligned habit and you're evaluating your essentially your values that activate your natural alignment, this will put you in the space of your natural habits, which are aligned for you. And then they start to become automated because they're a habit. A habit is just as much as just like brushing your teeth or drinking coffee in the morning. You notice that like when you brush your teeth late at night, like half the time you're half asleep, but you're still going to do it because it's a habit, because it's automatic. So when you get into a place where you're realigning your habits to your advantage, you start to realign your identity. And so that's the point I'm really driving in here. So when you think about when it comes to realignment, I invite you to ask yourself, which one of these areas are you having trouble with? Is it realignment with your body and your energy, where either you don't feel safe in your body or you feel disconnected? Because that would be more of your energy healing realignment. Is it where you're having trouble manifesting and you're having trouble being an energetic match? Or you're having trouble just getting the results you want? Because that would be more focused on realignment of being a vibrational match for what you want. Is it more that you're focused on like your actions are off, where you either feel like you're hustling or you're really getting caught in this like trap of like struggle or hardship, or you kind of feel like you're overcompensating and doing a bunch but not seeing what you want? That would be in your not in your habits, in your actions. So that realignment piece would be in your actions. Or is it more of an identity piece where you're not focused on what's important to you? You're not focused on those values, and as a result, you're not focused on realigning the habits to your personal advantage. One of the hugest shifts for me was realizing that if I didn't start making what I wanted into a habit, then I was always going to be inconsistent with it, which is, starting to work on my fitness routine. When I was really inconsistent with my fitness routine, it was always just kind of off and on. And I always felt the same way with my spiritual practice. in the early days of establishing my spiritual practice, I was so inconsistent with it. And then as a result, I kept beating myself up for not meditating or not doing yoga or not doing whatever. And I started to realize I needed to create a habit with it. And that kind of created a realignment of the habit, which made it a part of my identity. And now I can safely say that, part of that has turned into my journaling practice. My journaling practice is part of my spiritual and my mindset practice. So I show up to journaling every single morning, every single day. And that is now a habit that's become automatic. It's ingrained. I've had it since my daughter was just a newborn. So we're looking at 2015. So I've been doing that habit consistently since 2015. And because it's such a habit, it's now part of my identity that I'm a journal addict, basically. And journaling helps me with self-care. Journaling helps me process my emotions. It helps me have a better mental capacity to take on the day. It helps me clear my head. And as a result, it also helps me manifest because I like to set intentions in the morning. So I invite you to explore which of these realignment habits, or not even habits, which one of these realignment processes most resonates with you, because that's automatically where the work actually needs to begin. Because when you're aware of which piece of the realignment process that you actually need help with, it helps make it so much easier to not let yourself get overwhelmed by all of them. Because here's the thing, I've noticed personally, like when I need healing work, I don't need to be spending time in manifestation. And when I need to work on my actions, I don't need to be working on going into the depths of limited belief work. I need to actually work on strategy and action. It's kind of like the masculine feminine balance. It's like at the same time, when you need healing work, you probably shouldn't be really working on, establishing habits, because you have to get the basic foundation down first. So one of the core elements of the Soul Aligned Life Academy that we go really heavily into is there's different areas of our lives that are being influenced by spiritual alignment. And each of these areas are almost like systems that we can learn to understand and tap into. And so the Soul Aligned Life Academy breaks this down very simply, where we have 5 different frameworks where you can start to learn how to create realignment back in your life. And so if you're interested in the monthly membership, I'll leave a link down below for you. But for now, one thing I also wanted to mention is we have the Spiritual Awakening Roadmap, which is a great series if you are interested in learning about your alignment in terms of spiritual awakening. One of the easiest ways to understand spiritual awakening is to have a roadmap to understand where you're at on the process. This helps you tune back in to your own natural alignment. Okay, so that's all I got for you for now. If you have any questions about this process, please leave them down below. And finally, I just want to say, if you like our videos, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.